The fluorescent lights of City General Hospital buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows across the sterile reception area. But nothing could have prepared the staff for what was about to unfold. At the main desk, voices were rising, tension crackling through the air, like electricity before a storm. A young black woman stood clutching her daughter against her chest, tears streaming down her cheeks as she faced a white, female doctor whose patience had clearly run thin. "I've already explained this to you 3 times, Dr. Richards snapped, her voice echoing through the crowded waiting room. "Without insurance or upfront payment, we cannot proceed with the treatment." Her words cut through the air like a blade, each syllable dripping with cold indifference. The woman's grip tightened around her child, a little girl with beautiful curly hair who held a worn teddy bear close to her heart. The child's eyes, wide with confusion and fear, darted between her mother and the angry doctor. "Please," the mother's voice cracked, desperation bleeding through every word. "She's burning up with fever. I'm begging you, please save my daughter." Her knees buckled slightly under the weight of her anguish, but she held her ground, refusing to give up on her child's life. The automatic doors of the hospital slid open with a soft whoosh, and suddenly the atmosphere changed. Every head turned as a figure stepped through the entrance, his presence commanding immediate attention. Marcus Stone, one of the city's most powerful billionaires, had just arrived for what was supposed to be a routine board meeting about the hospital's new cardiac wing. His perfectly tailored Armani suit spoke of wealth that most could only dream of, and the designer sunglasses he slowly removed revealed sharp, calculating eyes that missed nothing. But Marcus wasn't prepared for what he witnessed next. The scene at the reception desk stopped him cold in his tracks. Here was raw human desperation playing out in real time, a mother's love colliding with institutional indifference. The contrast was stark and undeniable, the doctor's crisp white coat versus the mother's worn, faded clothes, professional detachment versus maternal desperation. If you believe in the power of unexpected kindness and life-changing moments, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Inspiring Journeys for more stories that restore faith in humanity. Comment below and tell us about a time when someone's kindness changed your perspective on life. Marcus had built his empire on quick decisions and calculated risks, but what he was about to do would surprise everyone in that hospital. Her name was Keisha Williams, and life had tested her in ways that would break most people. Just 2 years ago, she had been a promising nursing student, working toward her degree while raising her daughter alone. But when little Zara was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition, Keisha's world shifted overnight. Medical bills piled up faster than her part-time job at a local diner could cover them. She had dropped out of nursing school to take on 2 more jobs, cleaning offices at night and stocking shelves before dawn. Every penny went toward Zara's medications and treatments. Her worn sneakers had holes she covered with duct tape, and her jacket had been mended so many times it was more thread than original fabric. But her love for Zara burned brighter than her exhaustion. For 3 days now, Zara's fever had spiked dangerously high. The child barely ate, could hardly keep her eyes open, and her small body shook with chills that no blanket could warm. Keisha had called every charity, applied for every assistance program, and even sold her grandmother's wedding ring, but it wasn't enough. The treatment Zara needed cost more than Keisha made in 6 months. Standing in that hospital lobby, holding her dying daughter, she had reached the end of her rope. This was her last hope. Dr. Richards crossed her arms, her expression hardening further. "Ma'am, I understand your situation, but hospital policy is clear. We cannot provide specialized treatments without financial guarantees. Perhaps you should try the county hospital." Her dismissive tone sent shockwaves through the gathered crowd of patients and staff. "The county hospital told me to come here," Keisha sobbed, her voice breaking. They said you were the only facility with the right equipment. Please, she's just a baby.
Look at her.
She turned Zara toward the doctor, revealing the child's pale, sweaty face and labored breathing. The little girl's teddy bear slipped from her weak grip, falling to the cold hospital floor with a soft thud. That single sound seemed to echo through the silence that followed. Other patients in the waiting area watched in stunned disbelief. Some pulled out their phones, recording what they couldn't believe they were witnessing. "Ma'am, causing a scene won't change our policies," Dr. Richards said coldly, reaching for her pager.
Security, please escort this woman. Wait. The single word cut through the tension like a sword.
Every eye turned toward the man in the expensive suit who had been standing silently near the entrance. Marcus Stone stepped forward, his presence suddenly filling the entire room. What exactly does the child need? As Marcus approached the reception desk, memories flooded back with unexpected force. 35 years ago, he had been the sick child in his mother's arms. They had lived in the projects, his mother working 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. When pneumonia nearly took his life at age 7, she had begged doctors in this very same hospital to save him. Back then, a kind-hearted doctor had bent the rules, and that single act of mercy had given Marcus the life he now lived. He had buried those memories deep beneath years of boardroom battles and billion-dollar deals. Success had hardened him, taught him that emotions were weaknesses to be conquered. But looking at Keisha and Zara, he saw his own mother's face, heard her desperate pleas echoing across the decades. The hospital suddenly felt smaller, the expensive suit heavier on his shoulders. This wasn't about policy or procedures or profit margins. This was about a mother's love and a child's life hanging in the balance. The calculating businessman who had walked through those doors minutes earlier was being replaced by the scared little boy who remembered what it felt like to gasp for breath while adults argued about
Money. Marcus studied Zara's face.
So innocent and trusting despite her pain. In her eyes, he saw no judgment about his wealth or status. She was simply a child who needed help. And for the first time in decades, Marcus felt something more powerful than ambition stirring in his chest. Compassion. Marcus removed his platinum credit card and placed it firmly on the counter. "Whatever this child needs, put it on my account, immediately." The waiting room fell dead silent. Dr. Richards's mouth dropped open, her professional composure cracking for the first time.
Sir,
The treatment costs could reach $50,000 or more.
Are you certain? Did I stutter?
Marcus's voice carried the authority that had built a business empire. "Get this child the best treatment available, now!" He turned to Keisha, whose tears had shifted from desperation to disbelief. "What's your daughter's name?" "Zara," she whispered, hardly daring to believe what was happening. Marcus knelt down to Zara's eye level, his expensive suit touching the hospital floor, without hesitation. "Hello, Zara. My name is Marcus, and you're going to feel much better very soon." He picked up her fallen teddy bear and gently placed it back in her arms. "This little guy was worried about you." For the first time in days, Zara managed a tiny smile. The entire hospital staff stood frozen, witnessing something they had never seen before. A billionaire on his knees, speaking softly to a dying child, treating her as if she were the most important person in the world. As medical staff rushed to prepare Zara for treatment, Marcus didn't leave. Instead, he sat beside Keisha in the waiting area, his presence a strange comfort in the midst of her fear. Other patients stared in amazement. This was Marcus Stone, the man whose face graced magazine covers, sitting in a plastic hospital chair like any other worried parent. "Why?" Keisha finally asked, her voice barely audible.
"You don't even know us. Why would you do this?"
Marcus was quiet for a long moment, watching through the glass doors as doctors worked to stabilize Zara. Because 35 years ago, I was that sick little boy, and my mother was you.
A doctor here saved my life when we couldn't afford the treatment.
I've spent decades building wealth, but I forgot the most important lesson that experience taught me. He turned to look at Keisha directly. No parent should have to choose between their child's life and financial ruin.
No child should suffer because adults created systems that value money over mercy. But Marcus wasn't finished.
As the hours passed and Zara's condition improved, he learned more about Keisha's struggles. The dropped nursing degree, the multiple jobs, the impossible choice between her education and her daughter's health. By the time Zara was stable and sleeping peacefully, Marcus had made another decision. "I'll want to offer you something," he said quietly. "My medical foundation needs a community outreach coordinator, someone who understands what families like yours go through. The position comes with full benefits, flexible hours so you can be with Zara, and tuition assistance to complete your nursing degree." Keisha stared at him in shock.
I don't understand.
"This can't be real." "It's very real," Marcus smiled, the first genuine smile he'd worn in years. "Sometimes life gives us a chance to pay forward the kindness we once received." 3 weeks later, Marcus received a photo on his phone. It was Zara, healthy and laughing, playing in a park with her teddy bear. The fever was gone, her treatments were working, and her eyes sparkled with the joy that only healthy children possess. Attached was a simple message from Keisha. "Thank you for giving me my daughter back." Marcus studied that photo for a long time from his corner office, high above the city. The view from his window showed thousands of buildings, millions of people, countless stories of struggle and triumph playing out below. But for the first time he truly saw them. His wealth had always been about power, about winning, about proving he had overcome his humble beginnings. Now he understood its real purpose. That afternoon, Marcus called an emergency board meeting. He announced the creation of a $50 million emergency medical fund for families facing impossible choices. The Marcus Stone Family Medical Crisis Fund would ensure that no parent would ever again have to beg for their child's life at a hospital reception desk. But perhaps the most profound change was in Marcus himself. The cold, calculating businessman who had walked into City General Hospital that morning had left a different man. He started visiting the pediatric ward regularly, not for photo opportunities or tax write-offs, but simply to remind himself of what truly mattered. Keisha completed her nursing degree and now works as the foundation's director, helping other families navigate medical crises. She and Zara have become like family to Marcus, teaching him that wealth without compassion is just another form of poverty. The story of what happened that day spread far beyond the hospital walls, inspiring others to look for moments where kindness could change everything. Sometimes the most powerful transformations happen not through grand gestures, but through one person choosing to see another's humanity. The billionaire in the Armani suit had learned that true power isn't in wealth, but in the courage to kneel on a dirty hospital floor and see a stranger as family. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Inspiring Journeys. Stories like this remind us that compassion costs nothing but can mean everything, and that sometimes the most unexpected heroes are standing right beside us, waiting for their moment to shine.